Hello everyone, my name is Henry. I will be presenting you a talk about custom upgrades in Odoo. So I work as a client solution developer at Odoo, and my role is to upgrade client customization from one version to another, which is the subject of the talk today. So I will briefly introduce you to custom upgrades, how we do it at Odoo, our process, the different steps we follow. So this process is not mandatory. It's not you are gonna be able to do your upgrades without following precisely those steps, but this is more of a guideline, and this is what we think is the best process after doing several years of upgrades. Then I will go to some tips and tricks and answer your questions. So what are we talking about? Custom upgrades, custom modules, and not studio customizations. So we talk about custom codes, custom views, etc., but not studio customization. Why should you upgrade? You want to stay supported. So if you pay for an enterprise subscription, you won't be supported if you are not in one of the 3 latest versions of Odoo. You also want to benefit from the latest features. Every year, with every new version of Odoo comes new features, and those features can sometimes cover what your development did. You also want to have the security improvement from each versions. So of course there are several security patches on all the versions, but most of the new stuff concerning security is done in the new versions. Upgrading often also helps you avoid building a technical debt. Every year the code base of Odoo changes, so if you wait too long until upgrading your code, it will be a harder process and sometimes not even doable. Who should do the upgrade? Well, if your custom code was made by yourself, you should do it yourself. If you work with a partner, it's the partner that is responsible of your upgrades. And if you pay in your subscription a maintenance fee to Odoo, we will be the one doing it. So how to make it smooth? We at Odoo work with functional consultants that are part of the upgrade team. Their role is to communicate with the client, with the sales representative, with the business analyst, and with the developer, the technical consultant that will handle the upgrade. So he also is responsible for a part of the testing, which means he asks to the clients what are his daily flows, and he will test them intensively before giving an upgraded database to the customer, before the customer himself tests the flows. So the idea is to make the process smooth by fixing some issues that can appear in testing. He also handles the client tickets. So when the client has a question about his test upgraded database, it can be a simple functional question, or it can be more technical. If it's functional, he answers the clients. Sometimes it's just a standard change between 2 versions, or it can be more complex and more technical, and then he will give it to the developer, the technical consultant, that will handle the issue. All functional consultants are also responsible of the project follow-up, so putting deadlines, making sure the client is also doing his part of the work. I will now go through our process, our upgrade steps, and so our recommendation about how you should do it. So we start by stopping the development. Then we make a module installable on an empty database. At the same time, we ask for an upgraded database. And then when we have the upgraded database and that a module work on an empty database, we put those two together to test the installation on the upgraded database. After that, we test everything extensively. Testing is something we do at each steps, but it's important because you want to avoid having issues remaining when you go into production. So the first step, start by stopping. You want to assess what is still needed in your development. As I said earlier, with every new versions comes new features. And sometimes development you have made in the past has now become standard in Odoo. New features can help you remove those developments and so reduce the technical debt, reduce the time you will need to upgrade because everything is standard. You also want to stop the developments before starting the upgrade because otherwise you will have to do the job twice. If you work on an old branch in an old versions and you put new features there, when you're gonna upgrade your database, you're gonna have to upgrade those features in the new versions. So if you want to avoid making the job twice, you should stop the development. Then you will make the module installable on an empty database. So try to install the module one by one. When there are bugs, comment the bugging parts and fix the commented code afterwards. Why do you want to do that on an empty database? Because when you are testing the flow, you want to avoid having issues with existing data. And you want to make sure that it is installable, testable, and functional, work as intended on an empty database to avoid conflict with configuration in an existing database. So when you ask for an upgraded database, there are different ways of doing it. If you are hosted on SaaS, you can do it on your Odoo portal. And if you are hosted on SH, there are different ways. You can upload a backup to upgrade.odoo.com. You can use the SH upgrade tool, or you can use the command line interface. I will go into more details in the 3 ways of doing it afterwards. So first, the difference between the three methods to get your upgraded database. On the upgrade platforms, it is the easiest to use, but it requires a dump of your database, and you have no visibility on the process, which means when you ask for the upgraded database, you are going to receive an email confirming your request, and then at the end, if it fails or if it's successful, you are going to receive an email giving you the results, and if it's successful, giving you the dump upgraded. On the SH view, what is interesting is that you have a clear view on the process. Some steps are automated, but it requires basic technical knowledge. You need to be able to use Git and do a commit on your repository. Using the command line interface is the best way when you are on-premise, because you can follow all the steps. You can get access to the logs in real time, and it is also resumable. So if you start the upgrade process, then stop it for some reason, you can restart it later. So on the upgrade platform, download a dump of your database, go to upgrade.odoo.com, you will see this form on the page, fill the form, so enterprise subscription code, put an email, and upload your database dump. Once you have chosen the targeted version, you can upgrade. Also pay attention to putting in testing, because if you select the production, it will replace your production database with the upgraded one. So it is not something you always want, so pay attention to that. So how does the upgrade tool work on Odoo SH? So when you have a branch in staging or also in production, you can see in the tabs that there is an upgrade tab. So this tab looks like this. When you click on it the first time, it proposes you to upgrade, choose the version in which you want to upgrade. You can start by clicking on the button. So what it will do is it will download the dump from Odoo SH and put it on the upgrade server. So once it's on the upgrade server, the data will be upgraded using migration scripts that are on the upgrade server. Once all those migration scripts have been executed, the odoo.sh will download the dump again, restore it, and then it will wait for a commit from your part before updating the modules. So why does it wait on the commit? Because as I said earlier, your staging branch is made of your production branch, which is in the older version. So you need to tell odoo.sh, okay, now I have the new version of my code, the one that is working in the upgraded version. Once you've done that commit, odoo.sh will build and upgrade the module so that your staging become usable in the new version. And once this is finished, you can exit the upgrade mode and go to your staging and use it as a normal staging, but it is an upgraded one. On the command line interface, there are two requirements. You need a valid subscription code and a restored dump. So a restored dump is not especially a problem, because if you are hosted on-premise, you can go directly to your server and execute the command to upgrade. So these commands are visible on upgrade.odoo.com, and it basically requires only the dump, put the targeted version. So why is it interesting to use the command line interface? Well, as I said earlier, you can see the logs in real time, but you can also see where it fails and store that on your server, on your laptop, depending on how you do it. So if you have a problem in a standard version, so imagine that you are going from version 11 to version 16, you have a problem between version 14 and version 15. What you can do is you can target the version 14, upgrade from 11 to 14. When you get the dump, you can migrate the data or execute some scripts that will fix the issues between 14 and 15, and then restart the process and go from the 14 to the 16. So you can cut the process in different steps. Once you have your upgraded database and you made the module installable on an empty database, you can install the module on an upgraded database. So when you update the module, comment the bugging parts as on the empty database, fix the commented code. But before fixing the commented code, I recommend you to have a visibility on all the issues. So comment all the bugging parts before starting to fix them. Sometimes you will have a fix on a model that will fix a lot of other issues, because one change can impact multiple models. So fixing the model from which all these issues are coming is gonna fix all the rest. Once again, test all the flows, this time with data. So have a look at the data, what has changed, what is normal change, what is an issue. With your customer, go through everything. So the normal workflows, creating an invoice, creating a sale, going through the different steps of the CRM. You should also test the actions, so duplicate a record, create a new record, anything like that. Printing report also, because sometimes there are issues with the reports. Test the mail also, the mail templates, because there are changes on the models, on some fields. Some mail templates may not be working anymore, so you want to have a look at that. Also go through your website and e-commerce, check if the pages are still looking the same, if you think there is an issue with some type of display, if there is some article missing on the website, stuff like that. You also want to test a typical customer flow. So if you have an e-commerce, go through each step. So go on the product page, buy it, go through the payment, etc. And also creating some tickets. Sometimes you have contactors that will create a ticket in your CRM. Well, you want to test that to make sure that the tickets gets created at the right place. You can also have sometimes issues with the filters because once again there are changes in models, there are changes in fields. So the filters remain between versions, but if there is a field in your filter that is not existing anymore or that has changed, it can cause some issues. Finally, you should test also your studio views and check if some of them have not been disabled, because if there is a problem with the studio view when you are upgrading, the studio view will get disabled. So you want to have a look and make sure that everything that you made in the previous version is also in the new one. And then go in production, same steps as upgrading a staging. So upgrade your database, merge the code, and update the modules. If you are hosted on SH, upgrade the database and update the modules is done automatically. What you have to do is only to put a commit when Odoo SH asks for it. So I will go through several tips and tricks that I can give you to make your process easier. I recommend you to write migration scripts because you want to avoid doing manual actions. So if you upgrade your database, you realize that a specific view is not correct or has some issue. Well, you can fix it by hand, but I recommend you to fix it using a migration script, because every other time you're going to ask for an upgraded database, you won't have to do it again because it will be in a migration script. Migration scripts are also interesting to migrate data. So if you have issues from data that is related to a model or field that has changed in Odoo standard, you will require to migrate the data. So how should you do it? Well, go through your module, create a migration script. So do not forget the S, otherwise your script are not going to be executed. And then also put a version folder. The version folder is important because it will decide which module will be executed or not by Odoo, which script. So if you put a version folder that is between the current version of the module on your database and the version in your manifest, the script will be executed. So here, for example, you can see that the version folder is 15.0.1. If your manifest has this version or a higher version, and that on your database the module is in a lower version, so for example 14.9 or 0.9 or something like that, the script contained in this folder will be executed. So in the migration script, you can use prefixes to choose when your script will be run. So pre-migrate helps you run a script before the update of the module, so before the views gets updated, before the code gets updated. Post-migrate is executed right after the upgrade of the modules, and end-migrate is for when you have multiple modules upgrading. It will be executed at the end of all the modules. So not right after the current module, but at the end of all the module being updated. So here is an example of a migration script. Well, you can do kind of anything with it. You can run SQL commands, you can update views, you can execute a compute function. So anything that you would do in Odoo, you can do it in a migration script. So here is a case where you will need a migration script. So you can have two different custom modules with both containing a view that is inheriting from a parent view in Odoo standard. So when you will update all the modules, what will happen when updating the first one is that it will update the view 1, and view 1 will trigger a rebuild of the view containing all the views. So the view that is displayed to you when you open Odoo. And so it will take all the inherited views and include them in the updated views. So if view 1 is up to date with the new fields, with the new version, but view 2 isn't because the second module hasn't been updated, what will happen is that the build of the global view will fail, and so it will not update view 1 because it will fail. It will have failed. So what you need to do in this case is that you need to disable the second view with a pre-migration script, which will be executed before updating module A. Update view 1 by updating the module, and then at the end, enable view 2 with a post-migration script. What you should do also is to disconnect your testing environment. So disable your cron, disable your mail servers to avoid any interaction with the outside world. But of course, at some point, before going in production, you will have to re-enable them to test them. But I recommend that most of the time, you avoid enabling them in testing. If you download a dump from a staging from odoo.sh, everything is done automatically. Everything will already be disabled. But if you download a dump of your production, or if you use a copy of your production to test the upgrade, you will need to disable all anything that is connected to the outside world. So I will now answer your questions. I would say that it depends. So when you have customizations and on Studio, they can be issued during the upgrade, but the standard issue are handled by the standard team, and the custom or the issue with custom related Studio, depending on the case, if you have custom modules or not, can be handled by the PS Tech, so the team that works on customizations. So I would say that it depends on the case.
Awesome. The next question is about more about migration, so from community to enterprise. So I don't know if you'll be able to answer, but I'll ask it anyway. It's how to pass a subscription code on Python upgrades command when going from community to enterprise. Not really sure what they're asking.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can answer that question, so I prefer not to to say something wrong.
So is it possible to start on odoo.sh with like the Odoo 12 because they are self-hosted, and then start a migration to 16 directly?
I would recommend the opposite. I'm not sure you can start on version 12 directly on odoo.sh. I think I'm not sure of it. I will have to check later. So don't hesitate to come back. I will be outside the auditorium. So if you have any question like that.
Mm-hmm. So I think here, because they are self-hosted, they want first to go to odoo.sh, and then they want to upgrade. So would that be better to be upgraded first on?
I'm not sure it's possible to start on odoo.sh on an older version.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
I would have to check.
And wait. So if we we migrate the staging on SH. So when we do the migration, our production is going to be in the version that we currently have, and we are going to have the staging in the upgrading version, right? So for example, we have the database in 14 and the production database.
That's it.
Awesome. And is it possible to hire a partner migration expert from Odoo when like they do this? Or?
This is not something that we usually do. So you should contact your partner to see if he can handle the upgrade, or if you are a partner and you want to do that, you should contact your account manager. We can discuss about it, but it is not something we usually do.
All right. How do you handle an Odoo.sh upgrade when not all custom modules are being kept in a new version, as the upgrade process takes production backup, which include reference to installed unwanted module? I'm not really sure here actually what they want.
I think that you mean maybe at some, I'm not sure, but I think that the person wants to remove some custom modules. So I'm not sure if you want to remove them because the feature is no standard, but if it's the case, you can always write migration script to make sure that they are matching the standard features and to basically add them during the upgrade so that they are matching. And remove the custom module afterwards.
All right. And do you have maybe tips or tricks about finding missing data from the upgrade? So possible missing data from the upgrade?
Well, usually there should not be missing data. So this is also something that you should check, the amount of records being showed in the database, and make sure that everything is there. But yeah, usually there are not really missing data on the standard script.
All right. Sorry, there are a lot of questions. Do you know if there is an overview about the main technical change between the Odoo version? And if there are not, so do you have maybe tips or tricks to find this difference?
On the technical side, there is not really a document written with all the changes, but you can have a look on the release notes that are available on odoo.com. And so by checking the release notes, you should have an overview of the changes in the functionalities and the features that you use.
All right.
So
awesome.
Thank you, Rosalie. Again, if you have a question, you can come and ask it later. Thank you for listening, and please enjoy the Odoo experience.
Thank you, Henri.